The wonderful Bachmann Class 08 shunter, a basic service guide and gummed up Gronk fix. For me, Bachmann set a new standard when they introduced their 350 horsepower Class 08 shunter. The sheer quality of the mechanism with its big gear reduction and large flywheel and motor meant it was now possible to run the model just as if it were real, and I should know because I was lucky enough in my early career to drive these engines. It could be argued that Hornby's later model has the edge in detail, but the Bachmann model will forever be the leader of the pack. I purchased this one from Shrewsbury Model Centre back in January 2001 for £31.99. There is not much wrong with these locos, however, over a considerable time the grease added by Bachmann can become very thick and almost waxy, leading up to a gummed up Gronk. So it needs to be removed. We'll open this one up and see what it's like. The first job is to carefully remove the simulated wire for the front lights. This plugs into a little hole just by the steps here. Try and hook it just the other side of the running plate. The next thing to do is to remove the couplings. Just slide a screwdriver underneath and ease them up. This will reveal the body securing screws. At the front, it's necessary to remove the air cylinders first. They just slot into the chassis. This then reveals the body securing screw for the front. The rear body securing screw is very small and recessed. Ever have a stuck screw? Well, a powerful little magnet is really useful for drawing it out. Stick your fingernail in at the back of the cab end and lever up. The front clips in. You'll notice that the wire for the front lights has already managed to hook itself up. And there we have the inside of the 08. The grease in this one isn't too bad. In fact, it was serviced in 2015. One I had before, it had gone completely solid and waxy. So what we need to do is remove all the old grease from the worm. This is an easy way to do it with the big flywheel acting as a turner. The sharp-eyed among you will notice that I filmed this over 2 days using a different cradle cover. I noticed that the white was making the Mobius camera a little underexposed. I'm now applying Hob E-Lube gear grease to the worm. 1 drop of Labelle 102 to the motor at the front bearing, and then to the bearings for the gears. 1 drop at the back, being very careful. This is where the brushes are and you don't want too much. Further clean up of all the old grease. And now we can test to see if things are okay. And as you can see, they are. Some sections will be speeded up just to save a bit of time. Here I'm just making sure that all the gears are lubricated. Slot the body back on. Remember, the front goes downwards and in first. And then we must reinsert the little wire. We now need to turn our attention to the wheels and their bearings. I've speeded this section up as well. We're just doing the reverse of what we did to undo everything. It's a beautifully simple design, really well thought out. First thing to do is remove the brake rigging. This simply plugs in 4 pegs. It's held in place a little bit by the sanding pipes front and rear, so it's necessary just to flex them out of the way. It then springs up. For replacement, the long end goes to the back of the loco. Exactly the same for the other side. Just ease the sandpipe back and spring up. Now undo the 2 base plate screws. And this is what's inside. Again, we need to remove as much of the old grease as possible. This one was quite caked up and it had gone fairly thick and gungy. I'd already applied a good amount of Hornby lube. Lifting out the wheel set. We can now have a further clean round of any excess lubricant. Notice there the little middle pair of wheels spring. This just springs the middle wheels, which makes excellent adhesion for the loco. Now the all-important wheel contacts. These actually rub on the tread of the wheel at the top, and some people say this is a problem because the dirt gets trapped there. However, keeping the wheels clean and cleaning them with something like lighter fuel will clean these as well. But when we're doing our service, which we are now, it's always worth cleaning. I just ease them up a little bit to ensure continuity. Some people do turn these through 180 degrees and get them to rub on the backs of the wheels. I've never found it necessary. Other people still make a new pickup plate on the bottom of the loco. Again, I've not found it necessary. I've got quite a few of these Bachmann 08s. The wheel set goes back in and just line up the coupling rods. and back on with the base plate. Leaving the front end slightly slack at first before you tighten up at the rear, and then go back and tighten up the front just to make sure it's fully lined up. And again, you see that the long end of the brake rigging goes to the back of the loco. Speeded up filming is in use again just to save some time. It should still be easy for you to follow what happens. Oh, I should mention that it's worth putting a little bit of gear grease in each of these bearings. They're not true bearings, but they do have some friction. Also, of course, we need to put a bit on the coupling rods. So there we have it. That is a full basic service for the Bachmann 08, and as you can see, it now runs like a dream. Really does look the part, doesn't it? One of my favourite locomotives, these. Anyway, hopefully that's been useful to some people. If you did find that the gear oil had gone off so much that it was really thick and waxy, you might even need to disengage the worm from the first pinion in the motor. So there we are, there's another workbench special for you. Take care out there, bye.